All right, we are live. My name is Peter Russo for One-on-One Small Business Mastermind. Today we have our standard great, fabulous cadre. Say good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Dick.
And say good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Dick.
All right, quite the show today. Got lots of, well, kind of a hodgepodge all over the board conversation. But first off, let's talk about Yelp, my favorite subject, or at least one of them. I want to share with everybody a woman in Staten Island was basically fined $1,000 for doing a review on Yelp, if you can believe that. So the story kind of goes, which I just can't believe this is happening to this lady. A charlatan came in, did her hardwood floors for $695, and they peeled. They were awful. They came back to fix it. The fixes were terrible. So she went on and basically said the guy's a con artist and a fraud, and destroyed her home, total disaster. Everything's peeling up, which is a freedom of speech thing, and yet the company took her to court, and basically a judge, local judge in Staten Island, fined her $1,000 for her comment. And the lawyer for the other company said, praise the judge for doing the right decision. That's not, I mean, that to me is shocking. Now, if she said the guy was ugly and an imbecile, that might have been one thing, a personal character attack. But when you could call somebody a fraud because what they presented and what they did are two different things, that's fraudulent, I think. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, but just amazing that this thing came about. So the shocking part is I'm wondering, and I'm surprised that Yelp didn't actually jump in on her side to try to boost the defense somehow. And I think she's appealing, but it's an attack on freedom of speech. If we can't have an opinion, and we're not doing, excuse me, a personal attack, then we got a bigger problem here. And the court is the court's Judge Philip Stanier, which we ought to probably send this guy a few emails, and any listeners, if you want to get in behind this cause and throw some what were you thinking emails towards the judge. But basically, this is awful. So with that, I'd like to come around and get what you guys think of this topic.
Well, I'm kind of speechless. I mean, I don't understand how a judge could say she's offered her factual, if it's factual.
Right.
I'm sure she had pictures to back it up. She made a factual statement. If the floors are perfect, she said it. All right, maybe there's an issue, but if the work was shoddy, it wasn't done properly, it's peeling. They were fraud in their presentation. I don't understand how a judge could do that, but I do understand that's the America we're living in now. It's the
PC police.
Right, it's just getting worse and worse. And
I think what they're trying to say is, you could bitch about just shoddy work and maybe the bait and switch, but when she went to say he was a liar, a con artist, and a BSer, maybe that crossed the line into the personal side. I don't know, but that's all I can think of.
Well, he sounds like he's a liar, a con artist, and a BSer.
Yeah, and a BSer, right? No, I think she called it as she saw it, whether you like the call or not. She's the referee. You know?
Yeah, I know.
As people that watch baseball know that there are occasionally calls that people didn't like. Not so much now, I guess, but in the past there really were.
Yeah.
And now with, I guess, replay cameras and stuff like that, it certainly has narrowed that perception gap down. But I mean, there's not an instantaneous perception gap here. It's like they come in, they tear up your place, they put in the new floor, it doesn't work, they come back. It's a period of time, I would think,
Yeah, and I wonder if there's a warranty with that, which, it goes into something I'm going to talk about later. You got to do your due diligence as a consumer too.
I have two questions.
Mm-hmm.
What was she charged with?
Was
it slander?
Well, I don't think it said. Uh, let me just keep talking while I scan this because I don't want
Okay,
to waste
and my
time.
second question is she a member of Legal Shield?
She ought to be.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, yeah, did she have a public
Yeah, she is.
defender or something, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
well, she does say, quote, this guy, Matt, the owner, is a scam. Do not use him or you'll regret doing business with his company. I'm going to court. He is a scam. Customers, please beware. He will destroy your floors. He is nothing but a liar and robs customers and promises everything. If you want S something or other, then go with him. Obviously, we know what that is. S and then three dots or three dashes. And if you like nice work, find another. He's a scam, liar, BSer. She wrote 2 weeks later on Yelp. Let's see. 2 weeks later, she went on Yelp again, complaining about her floors and arguing anyone thinking of hiring a gardener to email her for information. So she went out, but she's upset. She's a passionate. What do Yelp get? Right? They get passionately negative individuals, right?
Yeah.
Such terms as scam and cardos and robs implies actions approaching criminal wrongdoing rather than someone who failed to live up to their terms of a contract. This is what the Sternier guy, the floor guy, said. So I think where she went across the line was, according to them, calling her a con. But that's her experience, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. They were personally in their invective and were designed to impugn his integrity and business practices with the intent of damaging his business and reputation. That's what the judge said. That her intent was to damage the guy. Well, yeah, duh. Hello.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's really sad when you. I can email her. Oh, I'll have to do that. Let me see. Not right now on the show, but I think I might pick this up as a cause or something to take a look at. But yeah, so I think the cross the line was the intent to do damage to him and his business and personally. But then again, that should happen if you're not doing the right job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, Wow was right. Okay. We're going to have this. It's going to be a repeat theme in today's podcast, I think, unless we want to get it all out at once, Dick. Yeah, why don't? Well, we might do that. Okay, so collectively, Frank, tell us who Ned Ryerson is.
Ned Ryerson is one of my favorite characters from a movie. The movie is called Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. And it revolves around Groundhog Day and the TV crew and so forth. There's no need to go to the movie. But Ned Ryerson is a caricature or a person who is a he's there's a term I can't think of. He overplays his character about a typical insurance salesperson, and everything that you know that you believe is bad about salespeople and insurance salespeople, Ned Ryerson plays that character.
Stereotype.
Yes, thank you. Stereotype. That's exactly what it is.
And all of us that have been in sales to some degree have seen this individual before.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you learn about this individual, you run the other direction if you ever meet him at a mixer, okay?
Right. Ned Ryerson gives used car salesmen a good name.
Whoa. Yes, yes. So I'd forgotten my Ned Ryerson lesson and went to a triple chamber chili cook-off, which Dick participated in, and his wife. And there was a gentleman that we all know that became Ned Ryerson. And I forgot completely about it. And all of a sudden I see him. By the way, he never says hi to any of us. But he started his Ned Ryerson routine, and he has a big sign on what it is he's selling, and he's smiling all the time, just running around smiling at people all the time, and handing out these business cards. Boom, 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 boom. And I just looked at him in just total disgust. And of course, everybody was reasonably polite with him. And then I decided to do my ninja routine. It's like I got my sensei shirt on. So I zipped over to a table nearby. Well, zipping is a overstatement these days, but I went over to the table, and I'm sitting there eating, talking some small talk with somebody else that's not sitting there, standing there. But I was within earshot of him. And I listened to his pitches, and I listened to him hard sell everybody and try to recruit them. And he was literally at the door of the event. So he figured out that that's the best place to get them before they even get into the chili tasting and the pie tasting and the contest and the. My God, it was just amazing and just disgusting. And I just want to say, hey, if you're in a networking event, don't be Ned Ryerson. Nobody likes a Ned Ryerson, and we've seen this now consistently from this gentleman for about over a year. We've run into him before. So, Ned Ryerson, and just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty well known throughout the chamber mixer world. This gentleman is a lot of people run from him. So.
And they should.
Yes.
I don't. Personally, he always seemed to be a very nice guy to me. Okay, it's just his approach, his sales approach, the Ned Ryerson thing that I think is what the issue is. And I guess in time, either he'll learn or burn himself out. I don't know. What's your prediction on Ned Ryerson's, Frank?
If they don't burn themselves out, other people burn them. Reputation and avoidance, and the thing is, he is obviously he's become the persona, but people associate now that persona with that company on his tag.
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
Other people who represent the same company are now painted with that same brush, and that's unfair to them.
Right.
Yeah.
He's poisoning the well in front of his own colleagues.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is a very good point, Dick or Frank. I think that if you do have an organization, a sales staff, now you want to train them to make sure that they don't individually poison the well with the other ones, and so that's something that people ought to be thinking about,
Yeah.
Gee, my lower third didn't work again here. Amazing. I was listening to some people yesterday, and they were having problems with their lower thirds, and it wasn't working. And so, Dick, do you have yours on?
I just realized I didn't. It's on
Well,
now.
at least one of us ought to get it on if it works.
Yeah, it's on now.
It's not showing up for you either. So,
No.
This is what Small Business Mastermind. I'm Peter Brusso. This is Dick Bentley and Frank Syringa.
Yes.
So, okay. And it was before I want to leave the Ned Ryerson negative comment, it was very interesting last night. We're going to come back around to it a couple of times. I've never been to a chili and pie cook-off thing where you're voting on everybody, and you can't beat City Hall.
No.
Right, Dick?
Well, you sure can't beat the world-class chef that brings in boar.
Wild boar meat, smoked
wild
boar meat that doesn't go into a real chili. That was his competition.
And he called the chili, and I guess you can call, you can call anything you want. It was good, but it wasn't chili. But
it was definitely good.
But then again, the La Quinta Rotary one, which that was good. It was a fun event. I'm a member of and an ambassador at the La Quinta Chamber, so they call it the Great American Cook-Off, and you cook chili, and my wife cooked a couple of apple pies, and there was well over 100 people attending. Went through. I mean, I made a massive pot of chili, and I was nursing it and ran out just before the competition ended. So it was a good turnout. But I want to just congratulate my wife. She won 2 medals for best crust, and here's
And
one.
best
Here's what
filling.
the medal. This is one for best filling or crust. And
Yep.
she won one for the best crust, and she got a nice little placard.
Yep, that's great.
Okay,
Look at that.
and I always prided myself as being the chef of this family, and she's absolutely saying she took my place.
You have been relegated to peeling her apples next year.
Right.
That's all you get to do.
That's right. I'm very happy for her. She's really excited. That's just great. And I posted a picture on Facebook, and comments are coming off the wall. So she's getting a lot of publicity today. So
Excellent.
I just want to say congratulations, Bev.
Yes, Bev she's cute anyway. So I spent half of my time back there with Bev and half the time up with you in the chili in there, and it was so good. Your chili was so good that people when they came and it was out, they were really crushed.
Yeah.
And I said we can always lick the bowl, and put the muffins in there. And one guy said, "Can I lick the spoon?"
Well, yeah, I don't want to tout my horn here, but I think I'm the only one who made true Texas chili, because it was meat and the peppers and tomatoes, no beans. Real chili has no beans in it. So, but I didn't win, so it doesn't matter.
You can't argue with the numbers.
No.
Although I have to say, if we're going to do it again next year, we're doing it different, Dick. I'm going to become the PR agent for you,
Okay.
and I'm going to get props up there, dancing women with chili. I'm going to do something. We're going to be the talk of the freaking crowd there.
Right.
And
the other thing, it's held at the La Quinta Resort and Spa, beautiful place, and it's a great, 4-star restaurant. And I'm serving my chili in the little paper popcorn dispenser things. And I look over, and they got this fine china dishes they're putting it in, and just the right size. So you're trying to do the proportions. And I got this big thing about this big, right? And I just got to put a little dab in the corner. And I'm apologizing to people. It looks like I'm chintzy, and so I'm gonna come up with my own plates or something, a little bit more real than popcorn things.
Well, we're going to have to bump the game up. That's it, Dick. But we made good signs. We had good signs. Not as good as B&I. B&I had this.
That's the other thing. I'm right next to this stupid banner sign. I'm hidden by it. Now I sound like a poor loser. I'm sorry. I got beat.
Well, I realized that sign was nylon.
Yeah.
And if either one of us smoked or had a match, it'd have been gone. Ninjas used to have a sabotage group in Ninja, so we'll have to jump into the Ninja mode next year.
Right.
Funny stuff, but what was interesting. Excuse me, was how you could network around food like that.
Yeah.
And how the food actually somewhat broke the ice in the conversations.
Yeah.
And to pick up the conversations, we saw Corey there, exercise Army guy Corey and his wife, and so it was fun to see some of the people and interact. And I want to hold up the one woman came by and says, "This is my calling card, okay? And here's a free sample of her spices, right?" And I said, "Well, good. Here's mine." So I went up, but I don't have any spices, which made me stop to think maybe I should try to figure out how to put some kind of spice thing, or not spices, but I don't know what you put on there.
Yeah.
Digital ones and zeros that fall out, like a glitter bomb. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Well, Peter, I think what you just said is so true. To me, and this is how I tried for the last year or so, I've tried to do my networking. It is really it's not doing the Ned Ryerson act, but just meeting and talking to people. We've had the signs made up that you helped me design. Had Legal Shield on them. I had my surfboards there. People were asking me questions about Legal Shield. Probably gave out between my wife and myself, maybe 15 or so of the surfboards. But I never handed one out. People always asked me for it. And I think the networking is building the relationship that over time, people when they need legal help, they're going to call me. I'm sure. So I think that's the true meaning of networking.
Did Bev pass on the? Well, I guess I'll have to talk to you offline. yeah, but it was nice to see, and then people really liked the surfboard.
Yeah.
You know, they thought that was unique, and of course, you always embarrass me, Dick, by saying, "Well, this is the guy that did it right here." You know,
Well,
don't say
you might
that.
as well tell the truth, man.
Well, don't say
Yeah.
that. You know,
No,
I'm sitting there.
no,
You
you
know,
gotta tell the truth.
but so anyway, there you go.
Hmm.
All right, now the next thing is our coffee podcast, Coffee Talk podcast. We took this idea with Perch, and I got thinking, and I wasn't thinking big enough. I'll quote Anton Simpson. My engineering business partner, 25 years, would come up with an idea, and he'd tell me an idea, and I'd get excited by it. Say, yeah, but Anton, look, if we do it this way, I come out at 90 degrees, it was always better. And he always told me, he says, well, what the hell do you know? That's what he thought in his head. But after he got thinking about it, he goes, wow, he's right. You know. Anyway, whoa, getting flown over. Hear that? That's a
Yeah.
jet. Yeah. So, by the way, the jets like to fly just over the house here from time to time because we're minus 228 feet below sea level. So they actually clock pilot time below sea level, which is a difficult thing to do, you know. So, and these are Navy guys out here. So anyway, Navy Marines. So anyway. I thought, well, because of the Perch podcast that we do live, and we've been struggling with the technology. It's over on Overheard at table2.com. People, what did overtake us in the beginning was our technology. Just we don't have good video, and sometimes we don't have good audio. And I kind of sort of solved the audio problem, but people got really excited by the live podcast. And Dick runs that, and he's Johnny. He's out in the field there, and I'm back here running the board. They can't hear me, which is kind of bad. We're learning to fix that. But at any rate, coffee talk. So what happens around the United States is groups get together and have coffee every morning. Retired groups, and they talk about what current events usually, what's going on. And it's unique because we had a little coffee club out here. We took a trip down to Bombay Beach. There's a coffee club there and a bar talking the same stuff we talk. And that in the past, that's in the past. And then I'm with the Perch thing. I'm going, wow, if we could get podcasts in coffee shops at the same time and network them together, the people in one coffee shop could actually talk with the people in the other coffee shops and having MCs in both of them. Wow. And so we're going to have our first coffee shop podcast next Tuesday at 9:30. And we're going to probably be leaving the iPhone or Android approach to laptops. That's what we're going to try at Perch this Friday. It's a laptop that goes through their Wi-Fi for sure, because I don't think the way we've been doing it for the Google Hangout that it was going through Wi-Fi. I believe that the phones were still pushing them through the digital network, the phone networks. Thus, we had some success in some places and not success in other places. But like our podcast here, our computers are forced to go through Wi-Fi. They don't have a digital network to back up. A phone digital network, and we always have reasonably good audio and video here. So I'm going to try to duplicate that this Friday. But I talked to Frank about it, and Frank says, "Oh, you're not thinking big enough, you know." And I won't tell exactly what Frank said because we're going to go prove it and then see what we can do with it. But Frank, you want to sort of nose around that a little bit without giving the cat out of the bag?
No.
Okay, fair
No.
enough.
Let's prove it and then announce it.
And speaking of which, a pig in a poke is connected to a cat out of a bag. I don't know if I told you that, but it's true. A pig in a poke used to be, it came from France to England, and butchers would put a suckling pig in a bag and you'd take it home, right? That was a pig in a poke being a bag, okay, or a pocket later on. And so there were some unscrupulous Ned Ryerson type butchers in those days, and what you thought you were getting a pig in a poke, you got a cat in the bag. And when they went home, they opened up, the cat came out. Let the cat out of the bag, you know, and he got a new pet, and he couldn't eat it. And they would move to the next town. So there's your little history on pig in a poke.
Right.
All right. What's the matter, Frank? Like, is this
My head is
control?
spinning. My head is
Is it?
spinning.
Is this control alt delete time? Okay.
Well, Peter, if I can just jump in, uh, I met with the owner of the La Quinta Coffee Shop, which is a small little local coffee shop, and explained, talked to her about doing podcasts there, and explained, kind of, what our longer term goal would be if it works, and she was genuinely enthusiastic about this, and she to the point where. She's going to make up some little signs to let her patrons know if we're going to be doing it, if they want to participate. She recommended the best time for us to do it with the most colorful clients she has, and she gave us a private spot to do it in, and she's really happy about it. So I think, just being a little skeptical of whether or not the owners would be interested. We've now talked to two people, and they've both been very seriously interested, and the second one is committed to do it. Now, that place is so busy, she said, I don't have time to sit myself. And I said, you don't have to. We'll be unobtrusive. We'd like to introduce you and have you say hello. So I could do that. So obviously, this doesn't prove the concept, but what it does show that there is an interest of these coffee shop owners to be part of something, and I think that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I think the underlying piece of it, I think people will stay longer. They'll drink more coffee, eat more stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
They'll get excited and bring their friends in to be part of a live podcast.
Right.
They all become like miniature rock stars.
Right.
Okay. It used to be like we're miniature rock stars. People know us from podcasting. When we get around, I've seen you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they all now get to share in that kind of light and have it international.
Right.
Even.
Right.
That's crazy.
And to reinforce that from the Perch one, from the very first one, which was a kind of a technological disaster and masked, a lot of confusion, to now, last week, and this is like the second or third week in a row, we end the podcast at Perch, and everybody's saying, what are we talking about next week? So I mean, I said, your podcast, you give me the subject. So it does grow on them. You're absolutely right.
Now, unfortunately, last week's podcast technically was so bad because of our connection that I didn't produce it and put it up. Dick and I produced it to the point where we could look at it together. We both decided not to put that up. So hopefully this laptop approach will just knock that in the teeth, and we're off and running. And if not, I'm going to keep banging away to see if we can't solve that problem. And Dick and I are going to do some technical testing this afternoon with it too. So.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
But it is nice to see that everybody, Frank, got excited by it, right?
Oh, very, very excited.
And we even have people showing up now that poo-pooed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they want to sit right next to Dick because that's where you can hear him the best.
Absolutely. He won't let. He got there late last week. He was mad that his seat was taken.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, that's a good story. So, all right, I think I hear something. Here we go. And
hey, there it is. There's my cue. The cue is for the twin that we call This Week in the News. And this week's headline is, Hey, Billie Jean, thank you for the small business lesson. Who the heck is Billie Jean? First of all, it is not the person Michael Jackson was singing about. Okay.
Oh,
this Billie Jean is in his mid-30s, and he lives in San Diego. Now, Billie has always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but an employee resume. And don't we know a lot of people like that who always want to do something but can't do that? One of his first jobs was as a telemarketer, making cold call after cold call for an entire shift. And he was okay with his job. I mean, he said, hey, it's my job, and he make dialing for dollars. He was okay. Until he found out one fact. And the fact was that he was making minimum wage, and the owner of the company was making lots and lots of money. The next day, Billy quit his job and says, I want to be a business owner. But Billy floundered because he didn't know what to do. He knew he didn't want to work for somebody, but he didn't know what to do. Things went so poorly for Billy that he wound up moving back home to live with his mother. Well, as much as his mother loved him, she too soon got very tired of his big dreams, no money lifestyle. She said, Billy, it's time you get a job. And Billy said, Mom, I'm an entrepreneur. So she threw him out of her house. She says, you're out of here. Okay, so Billy went to his friends, and he wound up tapping his circle of friends, and he would spend a couple of nights sleeping on their couch, then go to their next friend, and he kept on doing that. And Billy continued to search for his breakthrough idea. Billy eventually heard about making money online on the internet. Boy, haven't we all seen those ads, right? So Billy opened up a new credit card. Now, I have no idea how the hell he got one, but he got one. You know, they're always offering new credit cards. And Billy very soon was $50,000 in debt and just about homeless because he was running out of friends' couches that he could crash on. Well, Billy started his first internet business. He found a guy in Texas who was offering courses. They were really just PDF files of stuff that the guy had made up. And Billy opened his online business. He posted his offering of these courses, and he sat by his computer and waited for the orders to come rolling in and rolling in and rolling in. He waited all day, and he did not receive a single order. So dejected, Billy went to bed. Woke up the next morning, went to his computer. Billy made a sale. One sale. And he made a $5 profit. Although it was not successful, Billy was very excited. He had just made money while he was sleeping. Billy says, this is my calling. This is what I'm going to do. So he studied all he could. He took some online courses again on his credit card on how to sell on the internet. But to his credit, Billy focused on the power of Facebook. And wow, was he right to do that. After a lot of trial and error, Billy developed what he thought was a unique Facebook lead system. And so Billy's next campaign was somewhat successful, in which he was doing work for a wetsuit company for surfers. Being in San Diego, that was logical. But that too eventually ended. But then Billy got his big break. Billy signed up 37 locations for a chain of shops in San Diego with his new Facebook lead system that he developed on his own. And he delivered quite a few leads on a daily basis. Billy says, I've hit it big. This company was part of a national chain that had 2,400 locations in the U.S. So Billy contacted him and says, hey, here's what I'm doing with your 37 locations. He says, I need your help in contacting your other franchisees. And the national office said, absolutely not. We do not endorse any third-party offerings. Well, there goes that idea. So Billy continued to deliver quality leads for these 37 San Diego locations. And what happened was these location owners, talking to other location owners, talked about how well Billy was doing in generating leads. How was his business doing at that time? In the first 9 months in business, which, by the way, was a little over 2 years ago, Billy had made in his first 9 months $863,000 and counting. Mm-hmm. So Billy contacted the national headquarters again. And this time they said, oh, Billy, where have you been? We'd love to endorse you and promote you. They had no choice. The owners were saying, I want to meet this guy. So look at what Billy did. And there's a hell of a lesson right here. Billy conducted a webinar and they invited 2,400. Only they could only do 1,000 because of the limit, I guess, on the webinar. And Billy spent the time on a webinar showing and teaching these other locations what he did for the 37 San Diego locations. And when he completed his presentation, Billy went silent. He made no offer. He asked for no questions. He finished, said, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my presentation. And they all waited. And it was uncomfortable. And they said, Billy, wait a minute. Aren't you going to offer to do this for us? And Billy says, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't understand. I was here to just teach you guys. I'm not sure I can accept any more locations. I'm really, really busy. Now he had 1,000 locations chasing Billy to see if Billy could fit them into his pipeline. At the beginning of the webinar, the locations thought that Billy needed them. By the end of the webinar, they realized that they needed Billy. Billy signed up 1,000 locations. Now, assuming that Billy charges anywhere from $150 to $450 per month per location to do his Facebook leads, you do the math. You do the math. Not bad for an almost homeless guy who was $50,000 in debt. I know, P.S. Billy Jean does not have a website. He just has a Facebook page. And I know, Peter, you like to look stuff up while I'm talking. The Facebook page is called Billy Jean is Marketing. So let's talk about some small business lessons. And I've got maybe 3 or 4 which I think are really important. That whether you're online or not online, I think there's a lot we can learn here. Billy Jean just started teaching a course. It's called clicksintocustomers.com, and he teaches how we accomplished all of what we talked about in less than 18 months. And Phil, who was on our podcast last week, is taking the course. So Phil and I talk about it every time. And here are the highlights from Billy Jean's methodology. Number 1, Billy Jean's secret to making money online, and I say it applies to all businesses. Here's a secret. Have a skill set that allows you to do something that somebody else can't or won't do. Have a skill set that you can do something that your prospects can't or won't do. In Billy's case, his skill set is that using Facebook, he knows how to find qualified leads. And now he's being paid handsomely for that. And here's Billy's strategy number 1. He calls it the Billy Jean screen, I guess is for the video screen. He said, and here's what his system does. Find the people who are looking for you. All right. Okay. And he has a way of doing that, and Phil has taught, and I've learned it from Billy. And listen to number 2. Solve a problem that they have for free on video, as opposed to emailing them or calling them. When they click on it, solve the problem immediately, for free, with no strings attached, no opt-in, none of this other crap. And then offer to solve more problems. Offer to solve more problems, and that's worked very well. Now, strategy number 2, Peter, it really hit me about you. I think this is you all over the place. Now, he calls it Billy Jean Show and Tell for franchisees, which is what he used for these 37 locations. And I thought of you with Doug and Annalisa and Bob, Big Bob. Okay. Here's Billy Jean's 3-step strategy. Number 1, create a success story. He had it with the 37 locations. Peter, you've got it in spades, but at least those 2 that I'm aware of. He says, document and share your results with a camera video. You've done outstanding work for at least those 2, and I'm sure a lot more in your career. Talk about it. Promote it. Show it. I'm sure Annalise would love to give you a testimonial, and maybe Bob would love to give you a testimonial. And then here's number 3. Ask if they want your help. Do not pursue them, attract them. And that's what he did with the 1,000 locations. Now I'm going to close with Billy has two controversial rules for Facebook marketing, which very few people agree with, but I love his results. Here is rule number one. The purpose of your Facebook ad is to never sell anything. Never sell anything. The purpose of your Facebook ad is to offer something of value for free to a highly filtered Facebook audience. Facebook allows you to do that. In Billy's case, he did it two ways. He offered a discount coupon that had an expiry date on it for his wetsuit company and a massage company. And he got outstanding response. And then for a gym membership and a yoga studios, he offered 2 free days or 2 free lessons with an expiring date. And people were clicking on. Now, and here's number two. And here's the one that even is more controversial than the first one. When the prospect clicks on your Facebook ad, never send them to your website. It will confuse them. They're not ready to do all that stuff that you do on your website. Never send them to your website. Send them to a landing page that just talks about your Facebook ad, not about how great you are and your testimonials and all this other stuff that we're so proud of and your offering. He said, never send them to your website. Send them to a landing page. Capture their name, their email, and their phone number, depending on what kind of business you're in, and then deliver the value you promised. And that has made Billy Jean now a 7-figure business. And he has, as of a week, I did not talk, but I listened to a webinar he gave on a platform called Blab, B-L-A-B, which is a competitor of Google Hangout, I think. And I think he was up to 20 to 25 employees, and now he's going to add more because of this 1,000 that he just signed up. So, I'm going to end this with, what can you learn from Billy Jean that will make your business more successful? Gentlemen, that's my twin for this week about Billy Jean.
Well, let me say this about that. This last week, and I was going to talk about it later in the show, but I guess we'll just jump into it now briefly. I decided to go down this exact route. Okay, I had a really nice. I talked with Phil about it, so I want to do it with VisionOneGolf.com. It's a golfing product, and Dick has been the one pushing me to do this, actually. This is what you have a mastermind group of buddies for. They see where you're not doing something right, and they push you into thinking differently. So VisionOneGolf.com, had to convert the website, still not done, get it ready to rock and roll. But I opened my Facebook Manager page with Phil's help and started down the education of finding your audience. Well, your highly qualified leads. Now, I was literally blown away by the data that Facebook has. And now, one of the things I learned yesterday is, where do we live, guys?
Golf Central.
Yeah, the Mecca for golf. I thought we're all wrong. We don't. As a matter of fact, there aren't that many golfers here. We have a lot of people that come into golf, but resident, it's very few. It's shocking. But Facebook knew that. The number one place, Huntington Beach, California.
Wow.
I hunt in California only, by the way. But I could see by city how many people fit a certain thing. And I went and learned demographics. I'm hunting 45 to 64-year-olds. Was 65, but I found out there's not enough people above 65 that play golf. 64 is the cutoff. Now, you would never have guessed those things. It almost goes back to Market Samurai and keywords. I've had this lesson, it's probably been a year since I talked about it, but when you want to hunt keywords to get ranked for, There's a bunch of tools out there free, but they don't really work too well. Market Samurai works awesome. I always put in keywords in my websites and found out they were all garbage. Unbelievable. I'm finding the same thing is true about our impressions of the market and the locations. Our impressions that we just gather from sociological means, I would imagine, turn out to be true. And so using a tool like this, where I can hunt by men only, I can hunt by education. As a matter of fact, it tells you how many golfers have what types of degrees even. Isn't that crazy? It tells you how many golfers have what type of title in their ownership of companies or whatever, and you can really narrowcast your lines out there to get qualified leads to, just like you were talking about, go to a landing page. And so Phil is signed up on a company with drag and drop landing page type thing. I can make mine inside of my own site. A landing page doesn't have to be separate from your site. It can be inside your site, but do just what you talked about. Deliver on the promise. So I'm pretty excited by what I saw, and I make it my mission now. And you're right on the money, Frank. I've got to understand this until all of a sudden, the gold mine goes blank again. And they happen this way. I mean, Google AdWords was the gold mine at one time. Now it's gone sour, because of what they've done to it and how much they want to charge you for everything. Facebook is attracting all of these businesses to do that, and then they're going to up the price or do something and screw it up. And there'll be another thing like this. But right now, ride the wave. Pretty good.
Well, a couple of things. Bill, Dick, I don't know if you want to jump in. I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay, a couple of things, because I work closely with Phil. Phil's working on a campaign right now for a cosmetic thing.
Right.
Highly priced
Profitable.
Cosmetic thing.
Yeah,
right.
Highly profitable.
High profit margin, and because he and I talked yesterday. In the 6 days that he's run this revised campaign, we're averaging 4 highly qualified leads per day.
Now let me hold that thought. Here's the fly in the ointment, and here's an opportunity for us. Well, for anybody that does this kind of stuff, we're turning over qualified leads to our prospective clients. If they have Ned Ryersons on the other end to close, they're not going to make any closures. There's a product here. Frank.
Okay, now let me respond, because we've had this discussion as recently as yesterday. The job is to generate qualified leads, and that's what you get paid for.
Correct.
Okay. That's where the door closes after the qualified lead. Let me finish. If they cannot convert them into visits or customers, that's an upsell. That's another charge. So, too many
That's
times,
my point.
right? Too
That's
many
my
times,
point.
A people like us. Let's talk about us, because that's easy for us to talk about. We try to drive in 2 or 3 lanes at the same time on a highway. I think I used that analogy the other day. And you wind up hitting the guardrail or getting hit broadsided because somebody else is in your lane. Stay in your lane. If you want to now help them convert leads to customers, get another car and drive that lane.
Well, that is certainly one approach, no question. However, I think from the practical standpoint, if you in fact generate qualified leads and their closing is so poor or bad, they're going to say none of the leads you brought them worked at all. Your whole thing was stupid. And there's a Yelp unsatisfied customer right in your midst. I would like to think of being more proactive and at least having the discussion. If I'm going to give you qualified leads, you're going to pay me $1,000 to have your salespeople try to sell me, and I'm going to tell you what you got to do to change that.
Okay, that's another way to look at it.
But see, the chain of success, even like here, the Doug and Annalisa story, okay? When I was in control in them with their website, we rocked it out to about $720,000 of sales per month, or per year, excuse me, per year. Huge, okay? And when Doug died, the family took over and literally stopped everything, and the spigot went dry. And now, if you were to call them up and ask, is the web dude any good? No, nothing's happening. And what happens is, and I'm seeing this all the time, we're almost like shepherds. If we're going to shepherd our client into getting qualified leads, which will bring them, we might also have to shepherd them into how to close on them, and at least get them in their pipeline. Now, if they do such a poor job and they fall out, well, there we go. There's me in the computer repair store. They got people in and they weren't making a profit, and they were losing people left and right. I had to fix that. So there's a number of these fixes, which I think are opportunities. There's no bad news here. There's no bad news. But it might be something we want to look at in the future, because right now we're still building this momentum up. But I think there's a place and time when we might have to help people in a sales mode or in a marketing mode to capture or convert more of those qualified leads, because a qualified lead is priceless. You should close 99.99% of the time on a qualified lead. That's like somebody sends me, I want a website. If I don't do my job, I screw it up and I lose them. But if a person wants a website, 99.99% of the time I can do that. So it's just something that I think in our backfield that we ought to at least consider. Frank, Dick, anything?
I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me tell you why. Let me give you a little bit of why I disagree.
Jane.
And again, and we get this from Phil has a very good circle of people that he interacts with, outstanding. And these are seven-figure people. And he has this discussion with a gentleman from Toronto about 4 to 5 weeks ago, and he talked about this. And his comment, and I'm paraphrasing because it was 5 weeks ago.
Sure.
His comment was, "You're getting paid to deliver qualified leads." Okay? And then you hand it to them. Your job is done. When they don't close, they're going to come back and blame you.
That's just what my point was.
Thank you. Okay. That's where he has developed a way in which he separates the qualified leads from the closing, separates them, has them understand it and agree to it, and he says, now, if once I hand them to you, you can't close them, or you don't close them as well as you think you can, here's how much money it's costing you because you're not closing it. Now we have alternatives. Let's train your people to do it.
That's just what I said.
No, but I'm not done yet. Which is an extra charge.
Of course.
I could do it for you, which is an extra charge. Or let's find a third party that can come in and do the job for you. But you've got to lay it out up front that says, here's where your pitfalls are. Number one, you're not getting qualified leads. I handled that problem. The second pitfall is you don't know how to close them. You say and everybody thinks they can close, by the way, until you prove that they can't.
Well, their conversion rate proves that.
So what you do is, I'm going to call it, you trump them. You build a wall. You have them pay for it. But you have a door, but they can come in and ask you for a fee to come in. Anyway, so we're saying the same things in two different things, but and we got off to a tangent. I'm looking at the time. I feel bad about this.
You're right.
But the power of Facebook
is immense.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Dick, let's jump over to your stuff. We can go past an hour.
I'd rather wait till next week to get into it because it's I don't want to go too far past an hour. I will comment and then next week elaborate on it. But I'm sitting here listening and learning because based upon my experience with my last attempt at email marketing, I've got a lot to learn, and I'm interested in what what Phil said last week, and Peter, what you're doing, and Frank, for a better way. And I think the way you're talking about is the better way, and I've got to think it all through, which I didn't do a good job on with my efforts last week. So rather than getting into them now and all, I just assume that we'll save it for my thing next week. But I think it's a very, very, very valuable subject, and I think for myself I have a lot to learn on that, and I'm interested in just listening, and there is a better way than what I'm doing, and I want to learn how to do it.
Dick, can I suggest something then?
Sure.
Dick, if you'll go to Facebook, and if you search for a Facebook page called Billy Jean is Marketing,
Yeah.
Gene is Gene.
All right.
Billy Jean is Marketing. He has free training videos right on his Facebook page, which will give you a great background of what he's doing.
How do you spell his last name?
Gene. Billy is Billy. Billy Jean is Marketing.
Okay.
Then you go to his Facebook page and click on the video, and he still teaches some stuff. The guy is, I mean, and by the way, be prepared. The guy belonged to the Gary Vaynerchuk of speaking.
Yeah.
They'll throw out an F word or an S word, and that's just the way Billy Jean is. Okay.
Right.
Like I said, I never met him. I just attended his webinars. But he'll teach you, and it's a great, Dick. It's a great place, at least to give you what the possibilities may be. And
Right.
That's all you're looking for.
Right.
You just want a foundation, and let me draw my picture of what I'd like to do. Right.
Right.
So Billy Jean is Marketing.
Absolutely.
It's interesting to note when if you ever have done AdWords, they'll give you this laundry list of all the AdWords they suggest you sign up for, and you do, and you just don't get anything. They take your money, and you don't get anything. And what it really comes down to is you really have to research your market demographics. And I don't know that AdWords really does it that well, but Facebook is doing that in spades.
Yeah.
And that's been the missing piece. But Facebook's also modeled themselves after AdWords. They give you everything they're going to suggest you go for. Most of it won't even fit inside of your demographics. That's why a lot of people who try Facebook advertising just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so some of the things I learned yesterday was we might spend 2 weeks in narrowing down your audience and really looking at the data, and they don't make it easy on you. You got to write down everything that you want to go after. There's no way of just selecting it. I want this one, I want that. So they're forcing you down the AdWords model, in my opinion. And so I think the biggest takeaway here is that spend a lot of time qualifying who you're really trying to go after and get data on that.
As Billy Jean says, again, and I paraphrase, get found by the people looking for you.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you spamming them, or they don't want you standing at the door with your business card and a sign on your chest. You know, Ned Ryerson. They don't want that.
Ned Ryerson, right.
They're looking for stuff, and let them find you, and then you follow the rest of the scenario. Anyway,
well, one of the things that I'm running across, and then we're going to run a little long here, but one of the things I always run across is that people are really looking for qualified leads that they can sell to. I mean, that's a huge industry in itself, and you can build a website, nobody's going to come. But building a good website for the foundation of getting them there to help convert them is a very important step. But you want to do that way before you do lead generation. So there is a process in here that really makes some sense. And for me, it's a natural extension for what I do. To once we get the website up, once we get the social media set up properly, we get a little buzz going on. Now you hammer Facebook or some other mechanism to drive leads into that funnel.
And Billy Jean did just the opposite. He is yet to have a web page.
That's not true. That's not true. You lied. As a matter of fact,
I was on it this morning. It says under construction.
Well, you said. He has
a Facebook page.
No, clicks into customer.com. You just
that's a landing page to.
That's
for
a web
course.
page.
Oh, okay, but it's a one pager. Yeah, it's a one.
Right.
It's a one pager.
You don't want to build. You don't want to build your entire media on somebody else's platform that they own. Huge mistake.
True.
And so, and that would be only counting on Facebook. Like the coffee shop we ran into, no web page. They have Facebook presence. That's it. Okay. I mean, it's good that they have that, but when Facebook has now decided that when you post something, it's going to go to 5% of all the people in your circle, and that's it. They narrowcasted it down and restricted it unless you pay for it. You got to pay to play. You don't have that problem on a website. You just got to get them there once.
Right.
You know? So
Okay.
anyway.
Well,
I'll passionate today over this.
Jane, jump in, Jane.
I'll tease for that next week, and I will describe how not to do a marketing campaign. And
Well,
it will dovetail into what you guys are talking about on how to do a marketing campaign. So
well, and I will say that
next week.
Fred Tarkenton just came out with his new book, Failure is Success.
Oh, absolutely. I learned a lot by my failure. Absolutely.
I mean, I guess Fred Tarkenton took his, and I'm not a sports guy, so this may not be true, but I guess he took his team to the Super Bowl 3 times and lost.
Yeah.
He did.
Fran Tarkenton is one of the leading businessmen in the country right now.
Yeah.
He has a consulting Go Small Biz firm that is absolutely renowned. You can get it through Legal Shield, in fact. We have a joint venture with him.
Well, maybe we ought to get him on the show.
Oh,
Sure.
good luck.
Yeah. We got about 10 grand to show them.
Oh, weirder things have happened, you know. Weirder things have happened. Don't say you don't. We got to try, right?
You got it.
Got to fail. All right, guys. Anything else?
No.
That's it.
All right. Good show. Hang on, guys.